thoughts and something you would say to I guess empower young ministers, young African American ministers, starting with Dr. Sanders.
Well, I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk with you about the ministry and to talk about young black preachers and to talk about our views, Dr. Harris and myself, our views about these matters and concerns of the future. Personally, I made a decision very early in my life that I wanted to do all that I could do to help, in some sense, with the tasks that our ancestors were charged with in terms of trying to do all they could do to restore our people to a sense of dignity and life, and to help them sustain, to maintain, and to move through all of the struggles that they had to deal with, from slavery through segregation in the post-segregation period, and now in the period in which we live. And so I made my decision to come to teach at this university and this seminary, hoping that I would be able to do that. One of the things that helped me along the way was biography. I read our ancestors, their life stories. I got to know a lot about our life stories. We got to know people like the biography of Ella Baker, Martin Luther King, all of these persons who charted courses and had some success in America. They left stories to us. One of our problems today is that we do not have, clear stories. And I think that biography is a thing, Dr. Harris, that will probably need to come back into our way of operating or reading and stuff, so that we can get a sense of it, what we did, what we are to do. I think that Jesus, the story of Jesus in the Gospel of Mark came 40 years after Jesus died. It is because Christians had lost their way. And we need new stories. I hope that the young ministers of the future will create stories that those who follow them will be able to have at their disposal, not something of ancient times, but something of the modern world, to say that it is possible to live in some sense like Jesus, even in the modern world. Because people keep thinking that these are the Bible days, you see. These are old times, but it can also happen in these times. I do hope that with your presentation of this, that perhaps you will, or also yourself, Josh, contribute to the story that we need to develop. And I want to encourage you to keeping up this kind of work. And I want to encourage all young ministers, as our ancestors said, to live so God can use you at any time and anywhere. I think that's as good as it was generations ago. I think that we can create new worlds, and a world that is not just based on the popular notion that this, if you want to be successful. I think you can be successful by holding to positions that matter and can stand the test of time. And as we say, I don't always support this, that the black preacher has to come to the Jesus and resurrect Jesus every time at the end of the sermon. But I think that what happened is this, is that the Jesus story is about a man who held out to the end, and when it was over, his life continued after he was dead and gone. And this is called the resurrection from the dead. So I hope there will be many, many more resurrections of our people through the leadership of the church. Thank you very much for having me as a part of this interview.
I think we're resurrected and born again every morning, every day, really almost every time we breathe. I guess the only thing I want to say to young people is I'm very excited about young ministers. I'm glad that young people are still being called into the ministry. There are so many externalities, so many voices out there that are pulling and pushing at them. And so I am really, really encouraged by the fact that you have young people in their teens and 20s who are still being called to the gospel ministry and called to serve. And so I think that is a great thing. I want to encourage them to continue to do that. I also want to encourage them to prepare themselves in the best way possible and to have open mind. I think that's part of what Dr. Sanders has said. We didn't get to talk about it a lot, but a lot of students, I'm thinking, who come to the School of Theology and they get in courses like biblical studies, and all of a sudden they begin to think that the professor has something personal against their faith and their belief and that kind of thing. What we've tried to say here today is that we need to have a critical approach to life, to study of the Bible, to writing sermons, to exegeting or to interpreting text, all of that kind of thing. We've tried to say that today, that we need to have a kind of critical analytical approach. But that doesn't rule out this whole notion of really being excited and emotional about what it is that we're doing. I am very emotional about preaching and about teaching preaching because I want my students to be the very best at what it is they can do and what it is they want to do. And so, yes, even though in class sometimes I may seem and sound brusque and so forth, but the truth is, I'm very emotional about trying to help our students, and oftentimes I'm in tears because of my perception that they are not working as hard as they can on these kinds of things. So I want to encourage our young people, Josh among them, one of our very good students that we had in this round, and I've continued to encourage him and others to build upon the foundation that they got here at Virginia Union and go out there and become the next national leaders among us. So glory be to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Ghost. And I hope that our students and young ministers out there everywhere will take this task very, very seriously. Not be concerned about getting a big church and that kind of thing, because you need to be careful about what you pray for. Okay, because you might just get it, and when you get it, you may not know what to do with it. So just pray that God will bless you in the way that God sees fit, and we'll take it from there.